Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of #PivotPointers. I'm Daniel Dunworth, Field Educator for Pivot Point International, and I'm excited to bring you this week's Pivot Pointers techniques on shear texturizing. This episode is inspired by a question that Cheryl F. had asked, looking for additional content to support working with effilating, or also known as a slithering cutting technique. I'm going to use that technique and also compare it to another popular shear texturizing technique, slide cutting. I'm going to be working on Viola today, who's got the perfect hair for practicing any cutting techniques. Stay tuned, I hope you enjoy it, and if you post any pictures of your work, be sure to #PivotPointers and tag Pivot Point International in those photos. So here we are with slither cutting, the first technique I'll demonstrate. Here, the goal behind this is to remove bulk and create a lot of mobility. This technique is also referred to as effilating, if you ever hear that term. The goal behind this is you can see that I'm using the shears and I'm opening and closing them rhythmically while sliding those blades up from the ends as I'm closing the shears. Now, of course, you don't want to close them all the way and create a hole or a gap, but by creating this technique here, you're going to get a lot of activation and movement to the ends. Again, remove a lot of bulk, and you can really see that this hair is going to be able to really move while still maintain its length. Now here I am working into a second parting on the side. I'm going to remove that parting that I've already completed. I don't want to over slither that hair and create too much weakness in that perimeter. Again, just going to work these shears very rhythmically, closing as I push my way up the strand, really create a lot of this soft texture, reduce more bulk, and create more mobility throughout this haircut. But again, I'm maintaining a lot of my length with this. So it's about creating this very lived-in feel at these ends, but allowing the client to really keep that length that they want. Working with, again, you're able to see that there's a lot of that buildup, so as you comb through it, really smooth that hair out. Again, you can see that texture and activation that will live throughout there. Here we are working with the slide cutting technique, just quickly taking my length reference right in the center of that hairline to establish balance for both sides. When working with slide cutting, I'm going to take my hair and just kind of shift it forward, and I'm going to position my hands in a backhand technique. This way it allows me to cut symmetrically on both sides. I would cut with my palm facing down on the opposite side. When working this slide cutting technique, again, we're just going to start from that length reference. And as I work my way down the hair, one technique with slide cutting is to just slightly wiggle that thumb as you work from the top of the strand down towards the ends. Again, once I comb this in position, you can see that I start to get that texture and that concave shape around the face. Again, this is just one opportunity working with that slide cutting right around that face framing technique, and again, doing it on wet hair. As I continue to work through there, I just kind of continue to pick it up and detail out, which is what's nice about slide cutting, is it's all about creating the lines you want to see. Here I am now working with a slide cutting technique on dry hair. Now that I've already texturized the ends, I'm going to make sure I remove that perimeter from my partings. This allows me to make sure I don't over texturize the ends and completely lose my shape or become transparent. My technique is going to be the same by taking my thumb and just wiggling that just slightly as I work my way down the strand from the base to the ends. That helps me just get a little bit more of that hair removed, a little bit of a heavier activation through this texturizing technique. Again, remember the purpose of slide cutting is to help remove bulk, decrease weight a little bit further up the strand, and help increase that activation. So going through just parting by parting, picking up what I need to, areas where it appears heavy, and again, just giving that shear, that little wiggle down the hair, allows me to avoid getting caught up on that hair where I may have those concerns. Again, you can see this style now can be worn smooth, or I can give it a light little shake and get some activation, some movement from those ends very easily. Here's another style of slide cutting that I'm going to demonstrate on dry hair, but you can do it on wet. I'm removing my thumb from the standard cutting position and placing it on the opposite side of that ring for control. When I pick up my parting, I'm still going to work down the surface of the strand, reverse that thumb position. Both blades are stationary this time instead of wiggling, and now just slide down towards the ends. This technique still creates great reduction in bulk, allows me to create activation through the hair and that mobility. Again, reverse the thumb position, stationary blades, and slide down that surface of the parting. Again, you can do this on both wet or dry hair. It's all a matter of personal preference. The finished result shows an overall smooth appearance after styling. End activation and face framing can be visible from the slide cutting and slithering techniques applied. If you want to learn more about using slide cutting for interior layering, you can check out the Salonability Cut and Color program. So there you have two different texturizing techniques using the shear, slithering and slide cutting. I hope you enjoyed both of them. If there's a technique or a tip you'd like to know more about, feel free to send a message to Pivot Point International or myself, Daniel Dunworth, at Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. We appreciate you liking and sharing this video. Stay tuned for the next episode and continue to learn forward.